I've already told you about my personal journey as an educator. Now I'd like to provide a bit of historical context on this course on improvement science in education. In 2008, my colleague Luis Gomez and I wrote a paper that took stock on the progress of educational reform. It drew heavily on our experiences over 2 decades working on school reform in the city of Chicago. We could see small successes here and there, but overall, improvement was fragile and progress remained slow. We argued that there was something seriously wrong in the ways education sought to connect research to practice improvement. Each hot new reform idea seemed well-intentioned, but also often impervious to evidence. It seemed pretty clear that if educational reformers continued to do what they had always done, education would continue to get more of the same. Great variability in outcomes, especially for those most disadvantaged in our society. We questioned how our nation could possibly have much better schools without a serious transformation in the way it develops and supports schools' professionals, the tools, materials, and ideas and evidence with which they work, and how these combine to enhance the instructional opportunities afforded students. The 2008 paper began to sketch out a new direction. In brief, we argued a need to do 5 things. Focus on improving the actual day-to-day work in classrooms, schools, and districts. Orchestrate diverse expertise among researchers, practitioners, designers, and developers to solve the practical problems occurring there. Embrace rapid prototyping, quick tests of change, and a press toward continuous quality improvement. Recognize that variation in organizational contexts is a core design development challenge rather than some externality to be ignored. And lastly, direct the efforts of our field toward accelerating how we learn better and faster to carry out this work. All of this seemed very sensible to us, and if you've taken the previous course in the University of Michigan's MicroMasters program on designing and leading learning systems, these ideas will likely seem very sensible to you too. Yet at the time that Luis and I were writing, very little educational improvement activity was actually organized this way. We wondered whether these ideas could actually work in practice. And then something unexpected happened. Inspiration, how to see a complex problem through fresh eyes, arises on occasion in most unexpected ways. Later that same year, a group called the Knowledge Alliance invited Luis and me to present at a conference they were organizing. It was there that we met for the first time Dr. Donald Berwick, then president and founder of the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, or IHI as they are known. As Don talked, we realized that here was an organization, almost 20 years in existence, that was actually living the ideas, doing the kind of work in healthcare quality improvement that we had been speculating about for education. Don subsequently invited us to visit IHI to see all of this firsthand. At the conclusion of our visit, Don shared a copy of the book, The Best Practice by Charles Kenny. This book offered a narrative account of the emergence of improvement science in healthcare. Some 2+ decades ago, a few extraordinary leaders recognized the challenges confronting their field. They studied the discipline and culture of quality improvement, pioneered by Japanese industry and informed by the seminal ideas of W. Edwards Deming. They then imported and transformed these ideas into a movement to improve the complex enterprise that is modern healthcare. Their efforts to promote a system where continuously improving is what we do here became our inspiration. We were convinced that if healthcare could learn useful lessons from studying industrial quality improvement, then there was a good chance that educators could learn something in turn from them. so we became serious students of quality improvement efforts in healthcare. The medical profession far exceeds even the wildest aspirations we might set in education for the quality of the people attracted to the field, the depth of their preparation, the development and use of new technologies, and sustained funding for both basic research and clinical trials on treatment effectiveness. These observations are telling in that many recipes for educational reform today rely on one or more of these critical drivers for change. Get better teachers, improve the quality of teacher preparation and professional development, make better use of technology, conduct more randomized control trials, and so on. To be sure, each of these matters a great deal, and our systems of schooling would surely be better if somehow we were magically to approach this same level of resources as in healthcare. However, a haunting observation remains. Even with the best of people, tools, and technical knowledge, great variability in healthcare outcomes still occurs. Patients are harmed, and unconscionable levels of death and disability are inflicted because too little attention focuses on how all of this comes together effectively and reliably, day in and day out, to support the many different professionals engaged in our care. Healthcare organizations routinely ignored the complex and often very trying conditions under which professionals work. This observation struck home as true about education as well. In addition to taking lessons from quality improvement in healthcare, we have also drawn on some of the best ideas emerging in education itself in the form of communities of practice, teacher action research, lesson study, and the scholarship of teaching and learning. We also acknowledge a close colleagueship with a set of practices labeled as developmental evaluation. Likewise, we are indebted to a growing scholarship around design-based implementation research. We have also drawn liberally on practical strategies developed in commercial design firms such as IDEO and related academic centers such as the D School at Stanford. Throughout all of this, we have sought to act as an integrative agent, drawing together the best of what we've found and melding this into a coherent system of principles, tools, and methods for accelerating learning in and through practice to improve. We're delighted to have the opportunity through this course on improvement science and education to introduce this to you.